What's up, guys? It is I, once again, Mr. Gamer 990, and today, guys, I want to review this bad boy right here, Dishonored 2, which was developed by Arkane Studios and published by Bethesda Softworks. And Dishonored 2 is a sequel to Dishonored, which I reviewed in the past. You guys can watch that review if you want. The link is down below in the description box. But to describe the story of Dishonored 2 is a bit hard because the game is a sequel, but also a sort of reimagining of the aftermath in the first game, where after Corvo Attano rescues little Emily Kaldwin, the soon-to-be empress, from the conspirators who had her mother assassinated by hiring a mercenary slash assassin, Dawood, and his men to assassinate Emily's mother, Jessamine. Emily now is like the empress, and Corvo is her lord protector, but the only difference being that Corvo is actually voiced this time around by Stephen Russell, who I believe also was in the Fallout series as one of the characters in those games. I haven't played them and I'm not a big fan of those games, but he's really good in this game. And I also love the actress who plays Emily Kaldwin, Erica Lutt, I think that's her name. They're both really good, but this story is so different in that Corvo is actually Emily's father, where in the first game he was the silent protagonist, the silent badass protagonist, if you will, who is to rescue Emily. And I don't think you get the indication or the impression that Corvo's her father, because it came off more that Corvo was her friend, her guardian, not so much like he's her dad. It's very strange that all of a sudden in this game Corvo's her father, but that's what we got in Dishonored 2. And in this game Emily and Corvo are framed for the murders of Emily's rivals, who in the Empire of the Isles, which is a fictional setting, they are Emily's competitors, and they wish to take full control of the Empire of Isles, specifically Karnaca, which is the capital of Soconis. I think I'm pronouncing those two names right. I doubt it, but Emily is the empress, and her competitors or her rivals were killed by unknown killer who is referred to as the Crown Killer, and they assume that Emily's behind this, she and her father and Lord Protector Corvo. So Delilah, who revealed herself to be Emily's aunt and the older sister to Jessamine, Delilah Copperspoon, she arrives in Dunwall Tower in Karnaca with the Duke. Delilah and the Duke have Emily dethroned, and she and Corvo are captured. And depending on who you play, Corvo or Emily, they manage to escape from Delilah and the ambush she had. And Delilah apparently bears the mark, the same mark that Corvo had in the first game. The only thing is that Corvo has been removed of his ability by Delilah. That is until he gets his ability back from the Outsider, and the Outsider is back, and I really love his chemistry with Corvo. But Corvo, like the first game, doesn't respond back to the Outsider. He is more of a spectator to what the Outsider tells him and what he discusses with Corvo and the choices he would have to make, like the first game. But the Outsider, I mean, I assume at the beginning he was going to play a bigger role in this game, like he's going to be revealed as the antagonist, and that he's actually using Corvo, and at some point the mark he bears will come to play, and how he's going to be a puppet in his scheme. I got this impression because the Outside gave you an option to choose whether or not you want to have the ability, the mark, and I chose to have it because I thought it was going to make sense in the story. But no, it's basically an option where if you want hardcore difficulty with no powers, you can choose that. But I chose the ability because I was like, fuck that shit, I am not going to go through the entire game without teleporting, without seeing objects and enemies through walls. I'm not going to put myself through that kind of pressure or stress. Hell no, man. This game is a really fun action adventure stealth game, and I really love stealth games because if you guys know, I am the biggest fanboy of Metal Gear Solid. And I use the word fanboy very loosely because even though I love those games, they have a lot of flaws to them, but those games, whether you love them or you hate them, they are what set the standards for the stealth action adventure game. And this game, while it's not on par with Metal Gear Solid in how grounded it is, it's a still very exciting, thrilling, action-packed game with a very awesome protagonist in Corvo Attano. Now, I played Corvo Attano because I connected more with him since the first game, and as much as I love Emily, I feel, and it's my opinion, that this story is ultimately Corvo Attano's story, and I felt a deeper connection with the chemistry between him and the outsider, how they go way back. Of course, with Anton Sokolov, I think the scientist or the chemist from the first game, who's now elderly, and his relationship with a new captain of the ship, and she is Megan Foster, right? She's a lady who's had a lot of scars from her past, and she feels like she hurt Corvo in some way, but Corvo's unsure of who she really is. And I also love seeing Corvo interact with his wife Jessamine at some point in the game, several times actually, and it's really sweet and just heartfelt. That kind of bond they have, a special bond, and I'm sure that it would have been a very emotional and very heartfelt moment between Jessamine and her little girl Emily. But I felt a deeper connection between Corvo and Jessamine, but that's just me, and I really do love this game, guys. I mean, I don't talk much about the action or the gameplay because, once again, it is not my expertise to talk about those aspects. It's basically the first game, but with new added abilities, and you have new upgrades like you can improve your crossbow, your pistol. You can, of course, use these blueprints to create better attack patterns, and you can do serious damage to witches, hounds, and just the random enemies in the game. The way the enemies work in this game is a huge improvement from the first one, and I love the way they attack you, especially when they spot you. And now I don't know much of the attack patterns because I avoided every enemy every chance I got, but experiencing the story and getting to know the characters and seeing the interactions, that is what I look for in every game, which is of course important to have action and gameplay, because no game is complete without the gameplay. And the story in this one, it's good but not really special, guys. I mean, as much as I really enjoy the game, as much I love it, I do think that it's not really that big of a game or that special as they made it out to be. By they I mean Bethesda Softworks. It's a really good game, but I didn't got that feeling of accomplishment or that feeling like, hell yeah baby, like when I was playing Metal Gear Solid or Mass Effect or the Dragon Age series or any game of that caliber of epicness and stuff like that. But I do love the game and the options it gave you, whether it's to spare this individual or not, or to find ways around the enemies, whether you want to kill them stealth-wise or just slip past them, or you can just go out Rambo on them. And it's a really fun, exciting game to play. And I really do love the option, once again, that you can play either as Corvo Attano or Emily Kaldwin, and how their interactions with people are very different, and the outcome I believe is the same, but how they react to it is very different. It's really cool to see that kind of dynamic with Emily and Corvo and the people they meet. It's kind of sad that we don't get to see more of Emily and Corvo talking to each other or trying to discuss each other's motives or trying to learn more about each other as the game goes on. And I expect it to be kind of like The Last of Us or these kind of games where like Assassin's Creed, where you switch between Evie and Jacob Fry. I'm talking about Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where you get to switch as the Fry siblings, and in The Last of Us you can actually interact with Ellie, because sometimes she talks to you and you can respond to her using the triangle button. I wish there was more of that option in this game. However, despite there being no interactions between Emily and Corvo, except for the beginning, this game has a lot of options to offer. It has a lot of ways you can play it. Besides the enemies, besides the gameplay, and besides the fact that this game is gorgeous, and the characters, of course, are as well-rounded as ever, specifically the Outsider and Corvo, Jessamine, and also Delilah Copperspoon. I did not think I would sympathize with her, but I actually did, and the last choice you have at the end, where you can obviously spare her or not, it's really interesting how they conclude that story with Delilah, whether she dies or not. And I really do find this game to be compelling in the gameplay and the choices aspect, not so much in the story itself, because the story, once again, is alright, but nothing special. Now, while I don't agree with what people say about the first game, and that it's predictable and that it's cliche in many areas, I do think that people have a right to their opinion, and to each our own, as they say. That's my review on Dishonored 2. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe if you wish, and do check out my movie, anime, television channel, where I talk about those mediums in their respective manner. And until next time, peace out, take care, adios, amigos, au revoir, and sayonara.